What's good? We're back at it and we're watching The Dark Continent explained in 19 minutes. I watched Hunter x Hunter not too long ago with my girl, and I always was thinking, I'm like, what if they brought back Hunter x Hunter? And I keep hearing all this stuff about Hunter x Hunter coming back, Hunter x Hunter coming back. It's not coming back. But whenever it does, I'm definitely locked in. But we're going to see The Dark Continent explained at least. So.
Where the scariest thing in Hunter x Hunter, there's something way worse out there. The same ants.
Pito is Pito, Miriam, top Chimera ants. Hold up, let me make sure it's not too. Top Chimera ants for sure.
That nearly wiped out humanity are just a sample of what's crawling around in the most dangerous place in the entire series, the Dark Continent. We're talking about a location so hostile that its survival rate is 0.04%. So buckle up, because
what is it, like Golden Freaks and those the what's his name? But Kilo is like great grandpa.
Today we're breaking down everything you need to know about the Dark Continent in a way that actually makes sense. So let's start with the basics. The Dark Continent is this massive landmass that exists way beyond what humanity knows as the known world. Everything you've seen in Hunter x Hunter so far, all the continents where the story takes place, they're all sitting inside this gigantic...
Comment down below what's your favorite Hunter x Hunter arc, or like your favorite the arcs in like order of like how much you like them.
Lake Mobius, and Lake Mobius itself is located right at the center of the Dark Continent. So basically, the entire world we know is just a tiny speck inside a lake that's surrounded by this absolutely massive and terrifying continent.
That's crazy. I can't wait. Like, if they really bring back Hunter x Hunter, I really hope like they do. I really hope they do, because I really want to see what's happening in the Dark Continent. I've seen a lot about it, but
according to the ancient myths and ruins, humanity's ancestors actually migrated from the Dark Continent to the known world. The same goes for magical beasts. They all came from there. But here's the thing. Every single time humans tried to venture back to the Dark Continent throughout history, disaster struck. We're talking catastrophic events that got recorded on ancient artifacts as warnings for future generations. Because of the repeated disasters, the V5, which is basically a group formed by the main world leaders, established...
Damn, I should put a spoiler warning in the beginning of this video, because like this is giving up some like stuff that if you never watch Hunter x Hunter, like this is spoiling a lot.
Something called the Inviolability Treaty about 200 years ago. This treaty flat out prohibited anyone from going to the Dark Continent. But of course, people don't listen. The Dark Continent is said to be packed with insane, life-changing resources. It's a place where finding the right treasure could completely change a country's future and push it straight to the top.
Who's a like I always see like this nigga Gene Freaks in like the top 10 worst dads. Like they'll have Goku, then they'll have like Gene, and then they'll have Shao Tucker. Shao Tucker. Nobody can be worse than Shao Tucker, bro. You turn your daughter and your dog into a creation. Like, bro, what? Bro needs to be somewhere for real.
You what?
That promise alone was enough for powerful nations to start sending their own expedition teams, all trying to get ahead by claiming those rewards first. Over the past few years alone, there have been 149 recorded attempts to reach the place. Out of those attempts, only 5 expeditions were successful and had survivors. And when I say survivors, I'm talking about just 28 people total across all 5 trips. These weren't your average Joes either. These survivors had immense physical strength and insane luck. Of those 28 survivors, only 3 managed to pass the post-evaluation test and return to their normal lives. The rest couldn't handle what they experienced.
Out of 28 people, you're telling me only 3 people like could handle the weight of what they seen over there. That's crazy, bro. Only 3 people out of 28 people could handle what they seen in the Dark Continent. It had to be some wild over. It got to be worse than Attack on Titans if they're saying that only 3 people could handle what they seen. Crazy.
All of these voyages weren't even sanctioned by the B5.
If you couldn't tell, I got buttons now, so
You what?
I'll be spamming these.
They were completely unofficial. Even though these expeditions technically reached the Dark Continent and made it back, they're still considered total failures because they didn't bring back any real gains. And worse, they ended up bringing the 5 threats into the known.
What the hell is that? Like, what is this? A beast that keeps people. Bro, what? A beast that keeps people as pets? And look at this. Look at this. No.
World, causing disasters instead. So let's talk about those 5 successful expeditions and the nightmares they encountered. Each trip faced one of what's known as the 5 threats. These are creatures and phenomena so dangerous they make the Chimera ants look like house pets. Seriously, the Hunter Association's danger ranking for most of these threats are higher than the Chimera ants, and we all know how much trouble those ants cause.
I don't care what nobody say. Netero is like, bro, Miriam, top. He's top. I don't care. I don't care what nobody say. He's top.
The first trip involved the Bedrose Union and PAP. The Bedrose Union sent a research group of 1,000 people to the Dark Continent. Their goal was to secure a route along the northeast shore of Lake Mobius to find something called the Unmanned Rock. This ore generates electricity when placed underwater, and even a small bead can produce 20,000 kilowatts per day. That's a huge energy source. But to get it, they had to enter the territory of PAP, also known as the Human-Keeping Beast. This mysterious beast lives in a mountain range alongside the northeast shore of Lake Mobius. It feeds on humans and keeps them as pets. Out of the 1,000-person expedition, only 7 people made it back. Seven. The rest either died or became PAP's plaything. Some of PAP's victims
Hell
have
no.
even been found in the known world.
And then the funniest thing is though, I just realized they said that that's crazy. That's a crazy image to see. But they say that they didn't count it as a success because they didn't bring anything back. How about you go there? Because I didn't bring anything back for you. You're saying that I didn't do good? Yeah, brother, you go there.
They are secretly stored in the basement of the International Permit Agency, the IPA, the organization that regulates travel to the Dark Continent.
Bro, that was a sticker.
According
bro.
to the Hunter Association's danger rankings, PAP gets an A rating, which is higher than Chimera Ant's B rating. What makes PAP so dangerous is that the victims get shrunk down to the size of dolls, and they all have an antler sticking out of their heads.
And they still
The creature's
live?
full title reads, A Trade-Off Between Life and Pleasure, which hints at its abilities. Apparently, it can tame humans by turning them into docile pets. Imagine being reduced to a doll-sized plaything for a monstrous beast.
No, facts.
That's the fate of most people who cross paths with PAP. Let's move on to our second trip, involving the United States of Saherda and Bryon.
No, absolutely not. This thing has a ball as a face.
The
Absolutely
United States
not.
of Saherda sent their special forces to the Dark Continent, traveling through the north of Lake Mobius. After covering about 400 kilometers, they found themselves in a sea of trees. Deep within this forest, they discovered the ruins of an ancient labyrinthine city. Growing in this city was a herb that supposedly cures all diseases. Sounds like a miracle find, but this huge discovery later turns into a nightmare. The ruined city had a protector in the form of Bryon, a botanical weapon. Bryon appears as an enormous sphere sitting on top of a human body where the head should be. Not much is known about its abilities, but what we do know is that it decimated Saherda's forces. Only 2 people survived, 2 out of an approximately 1,000-member unit. Bryon has a threat level of B+, which is still higher than the Chimera Ants. The third trip involved the Federation of Ochima and Hellbell. The Federation of Ochima.
You know, I also wonder watching this actually is just like how was this world created? Like where did this all come from? Like there's just big beasts roaming the whole like everywhere else except for in this lake. Like was the lake created and stuff like that?
Sent
That's
an
also what I'm
expedition team
wondering
of 1,100
as I'm like
members
watching
to the
it.
southeast of Lake Mobius. looking for nitro rice, a grain that supposedly extends one's lifespan when consumed. They traveled through the south of Lake Mobius and ended up in a wild swampland. That's where they met Hellbell, and it was a massacre. Hellbell wiped out 99% of the expedition, leaving only 11 survivors. Hellbell is a snake-like creature with two tails. It has this large black lump that looks like a bell, which is where it gets its name. The skin from its neck up to this black lump has a twisted texture. The scariest thing about Hellbell isn't just its appearance though. It infects its prey with homicidal desire. Imagine your teammates suddenly wanting to kill you and each other.
Got me looking at people like that every time they be like, bro, nah, I'm good. And he started looking at you like that. And bro, now I can't even sleep next to you, twin.
That's what Hellbell does. The fourth trip involved Mimbo Republic and I. The Mimbo Republic got help from the Hunter Association to send an expedition team to the Dark Continent. Their goal was to extract the Trinity Elixir, which is described as the mother solution for all sorts of liquids. On their way to their destination, the team encountered another one of the 5 threats. Not much is known about its appearance, but it seems to be a gaseous life form with limb-like appendages extending from its main body. After some kind of unknown dispute or struggle, only 3 survivors returned, but they came back empty-handed and completely insane. They lost every shred of their sanity. Whatever I did to those survivors must have been horrifying to break their minds so completely. I was supposedly locked up after being brought back from the Dark Continent, but victims of I have been found within the known world, which means either it escaped or there's more than one. I's abilities are unclear, but we know it can kill humans since it has made victims in the known world. The Hunter Association gives I a threat level of A, which again is higher than the Chimera ants. The 5th trip, involving Kukayu Kingdom and the Zobe disease. About 50 years ago, the Kukayu Kingdom sent an expedition to the Dark Continent searching for an alchemical plant called Metallion. They had help from a group of hunters guided by Beyond Netero, and they actually succeeded in retrieving it. But on the return journey, the group lost its way, took the wrong route, and some members contracted Zobe disease. The sickness has a high fatality rate. Out of all the expedition members who contracted it, only one survived. This sole survivor was a hunter who obtained an uncanny capacity to live entirely self-sufficiently without sustenance for many years, becoming practically immune to death. How does this work? Apparently, self-sustenance is achieved through feeding on one's own flesh, and the disease greatly accelerates the regeneration of tissues. So the infected person basically becomes immortal by constantly eating and regenerating their own body. The sanity of those who are infected is likely to be heavily affected. It's also possible that the disease causes their skin to turn dark in color.
Bro, what's really making me like, damn, what the hell is this? Is because it's like, bro, why are we able to, where's these diseases come from? Like, what created these diseases and stuff? Like, what created this? For real.
The really concerning thing is that nobody knows how this disease is contracted, and there's no cure as of yet. Of the entire expedition team, hunters included, only Beyond and 5 others survived, along with the hunter infected by the disease who had been self-sustaining for almost 50 years.
Crazy looking man. This is a crazy looking man. No cap. Imagine seeing bro outside your window at night, bro. Yo, let me stop looking. Hold up. I have to get this screenshot. Bro, imagine seeing this guy, like walking up to you and asking you for your number. Yeah. Like he'd just be like, "Hey, can I have your number? I'm calling the police, sir. Please leave me alone."
While being locked up in the basement of the IPA. And as if that wasn't bad enough, at the end of the expedition, the Metallion plant withered and died. So they went through all that danger and only managed to bring back a plant that didn't even survive. Now, there is another expedition worth mentioning that happened even earlier than the Kukayu Kingdom's trip. Years before that voyage, a young Isaac Netero set off on his own undocumented expedition to the Dark Continent. He wasn't alone though. He brought along Zig Zoldyck and
I heard Zig Zoldyck
other incredibly
is
powerful
crazy
users at the time. But even with their combined strength, the Dark Continent absolutely overwhelmed them. The whole experience was a non-stop losing battle. Nature itself kept throwing bigger and meaner challenges at them, until they finally decided to turn back. The trip shook Netero badly after he saw firsthand just how dangerous the Dark Continent really was. Things got even more personal when Netero found out his son Beyond had also tried to explore this uncharted continent. This discovery pushed Netero to take action. He convinced the V5 to extend the Inviolability Treaty to the Hunter Association as well, effectively banning any hunter from venturing to the Forbidden Land. In his final video message to the Zodiacs, Netero revealed something interesting.
The chairman arc was literally like, no joke, post nut clarity, bro. Cause you really sit there and think like, what the fuck am I watching? Because like, you watch a arc like the Chimera Ant arc, right? And stick with me now. You watch a arc like the Chimera Ant arc, that the most saddest scene where Miriam, yes, if you didn't figure it out before, yes, my favorite character is Miriam. But if we're talking about the arcs, right? The Chimera Ant arc was so impactful. Pito and his going back, or her going back and forth with Gon and stuff like that. Gon becoming a like his adult self, showing his like true evil power, and then you just ruin everything by having the hunt, like the damn, I just spoiled so much. Spoiler warning. Sorry. But yeah, and then you have like Gene showing up during the chairman arc for no reason at all.
Instead, he actually set foot in the Dark Continent twice, although details of his second trip remain unknown. Despite all the dangers he faced and the band he helped establish, Netero still dreamed of seeing the Hunter Association take the lead in conquering the Dark Continent. In his eyes, they were the right ones for the job, not his son. Now, let's talk about Lake Mobius itself and how navigation works in this world. The known world, where all of humanity lives, sits in the center.
My bad, I'm back. I went to go eat.
The known world, where all of humanity lives, sits in the center of Lake Mobius. Between the known world and the Dark Continent, there's something called the Far Ocean Boundary. This boundary encloses a neutral zone that separates into two parts: territorial waters and uncharted waters. Territorial waters are where all of humanity's normal navigation and fishing happen. It is the safe zone. Uncharted waters, on the other hand, are dangerous and unexplored. Beyond the uncharted waters, you reach the Far Ocean Boundary, and beyond that is the Dark Continent proper. To actually cross into the Dark Continent, you need to reach the gate located at the Far Ocean Boundary. At the gate, you encounter the Gatekeeper. The Gatekeeper is a race of magical beasts, and they're the only ones who can summon a guide for you. Without this guide, crossing into the Dark Continent is impossible.
Who created all
the
this
literal
stuff,
gatekeeper
bro?
to this forbidden land, and they control who gets in and who doesn't. So with all this danger and the Inviolability Treaty in place, you'd think no one would be crazy enough to try reaching the Dark Continent again. But enter the Kukian Empire and their ambitious expedition. Despite the ban from going to the Dark Continent, Beyond Netero didn't give up. He started preparing for a full expedition by recruiting skilled people, securing funding, and working with Periston Hill. Periston infiltrated the Hunter Association to assemble a team of temp hunters, specifically for the journey. Beyond also made a deal with King Nasubi of the Kukian Empire. The deal was simple. Beyond will help make Nasubi a legendary ruler in exchange for funding the trip. King Nasubi then publicly announced an open expedition to the Dark Continent. This announcement put massive pressure on the V5 and forced them to take action. The V5 hired the Hunter Association to capture Beyond, but then Kukian joined the V5 alliance, creating the V6. This changed everything. Instead of capturing Beyond, the V5 decided to have the Zodiacs escort him to the Dark Continent. Behind the scenes, the V5 secretly backed Nasubi's project because they wanted a share of the riches from the Dark Continent, but they also came up with a clever deception. They insisted that only the Hunter Association ships would proceed to the actual Dark Continent. The general public would be tricked into thinking that a place called the New Continent is the real Dark Continent.
Damn, that's
The New
fucked up.
Continent is an uninhabited island located in the uncharted waters of Lake Mobius. It's outside of humanity's colonized territory, but still within the neutral zone. The New Continent is believed to be much safer than the Dark Continent itself. That's why the V6 decided to pass it off as the actual Dark Continent for the public. With massive support from Kukian's populace, stopping the project without military intervention would have been impossible. So the deputy secretary of the IPA, Steiner, suggested approving the expedition, but making
Sorry, I'm not talking. I'm really locked in right now.
the Black Whale 1, Kukin's massive ship, stop at
What is this, like a fake laboon?
the new continent instead of going all the way to the Dark Continent. Only the V6 countries, beyond Netero, and certain members of the Hunter Association, the IPA, and restricted voyage agencies would know the truth. The plan for the real explorers went like this. First, the Black Whale 1 would land on the new continent to end the voyage for the Kakian royal family and general passengers. Then, the actual explorers would transfer to a ship owned by Royal Macronazy to travel to the gate on the far ocean boundary and meet the gatekeeper. Along the way, they set up a small island staging base for supplies, personnel distribution, and transport back from the Dark Continent. Finally, they'd accompany beyond in exploring the Dark Continent with the gatekeeper's assistance. Now, you might be wondering, if the Dark Continent is supposedly uncharted, how does the V5 know about its greatest resources and where to find them?
Exactly.
The answer lies with a man named Don Freaks. Over 300 years ago, Don
I
Freaks
heard Don Freaks is the greatest. I heard like he's the anime of Hunter x Hunter at least. I think he's the greatest. Apparently, that's what I've heard.
the trip to the Dark Continent on his own. He explored the Mobius shoreline and recorded everything in a journal titled Journey to the New World. Don documented his travels in 2 volumes, an East Edition and a West Edition. However, only the East Edition has been found and is now in the hands of the V6. A copy of the East Edition is stored in the basement of the IPA and was given to Steiner to read. The IPA director explains that the book was published centuries ago and was once dismissed as the ramblings of a lunatic. But now, thanks to testimonies from survivors of the 5 documented expeditions and evidence from victims of the threats,
Exactly, where there are only like 3 survivors out of
the
28.
book has become legendary as a priceless source of knowledge about the Dark Continent. After the Black Whale departs, Steiner is seen aboard the ship with other IPA members, still reading the East Edition. When asked why he's reading it again, Steiner suggests they at least read the chapter about the labyrinthine city they're heading to. That's likely the same place where the herb for all illnesses and the threat Bryon are located. So
But how do they
basically,
know
Don's journal
that,
is
though?
serving as their guidebook for the expedition. While the East Edition is securely with the V6, the West Edition has never been found. According to Jing, there are 3 possibilities. It hasn't been discovered yet, it was never written in the first place, or Don Freaks is still alive working on it. The last theory doesn't sound too far-fetched considering Don knew about the nitro rice and where to find it. If Don really is still alive after 300 years, that would mean he found a way to extend his life dramatically, possibly through something he discovered on the Dark Continent itself.
But I'm telling you, bro, when they really released the Dark Continent, the New Continent, all that type of stuff, like they released those arcs, bro, it's gonna go crazy, bro. I can't, like, that's if they even release this stuff,
Of course,
bro.
it's
I
hard
think it could be bigger. Like, I'm not even gonna say it. Never
not to
mind.
notice that he shares the same Freak's name. Whether he's actually related to Jing and Gon is still a big mystery that hasn't been cleared up yet. So now let's talk about the succession contest, because here's where things get really complicated. King Nasubi has his own plans that went beyond just reaching the Dark Continent. The Black Whale 1 wasn't just a cruise ship, it was also the central stage for a deadly succession battle to determine which of his 14 children would inherit the throne. This succession contest involves not just the royal princes, but also Kakian's mafia families. These families are fighting their own battles to help their sponsor prince win and gain power for themselves. Meanwhile, the Zodiacs are juggling preparations for the Dark Continent expedition while keeping Beyond under control. At Beyond's base, Jing showed up and joined the team, which interrupted some of Periston's plans. Around this time, both Jing and Periston left the Zodiacs, with Leorio and Kurapika stepping in to replace them. Kurapika joined specifically to get
I bet Leorio and the manga go crazy. I gotta read up on it. I've never been a big manga reader till recently. My cousin recently just put me on to like reading manga, so I'm gonna definitely get into that because I've been wanting to buy some, but I'm gonna look into getting some.
closer to Surive, the fourth Prince of Kakian, who owns a large collection of scarlet eyes. As the journey approached, Cheeto kicked things off with the 289th Hunter exam. This time, the exam only allowed recruits for the expedition to pass. Kurapika used this period to investigate a potential mole in the Zodiacs and identified Sayu as a spy for Beyond using his dowsing chain. Then came the seed urn ceremony. Each of the 14 princes gave a drop of blood to an urn. This ritual gave them guardian spirit beasts, which are powerful nin constructs linked to their survival in the succession battle. The stakes became deadly because trying to flee the contest meant certain death. To get closer to Surive, Kurapika hired several hunters, like Bisky, Basho, Hanzo, Melody, and Izunavi to work as bodyguards for various princes. While Kurapika thought he'd end up protecting the 9th Prince Hawkenberg, he was instead assigned to protect Queen Oito and her baby, the 14th Prince Wovel.
Of course.
Kurapika reluctantly took the job after Oito promised to help him get to Surive. The Black Whale One was scheduled to spend about 3 weeks cruising through territorial waters, then stop to refuel before heading into uncharted waters for another 5 weeks. After that, it would finally reach what the passengers believed was the Dark Continent. When the Black Whale One finally set sail, chaos erupted almost immediately. Guardian Spirit Beasts began manifesting, and Kurapika made an emergency broadcast to warn the hunters. He discovered something strange. The princes themselves couldn't see these beasts, which went against typical nin rules. King Nasubi explained the beast's restriction. They can't kill each other or attack directly. This created a battle strategy where even princes without strong combat skills had a fighting chance. Kurapika offered to teach nin to the royal guards.
Bro
to
looked like Jason from
and 10 princes sent their bodyguards
from
for
Tokyo
lessons.
Ghoul.
The situation got even more chaotic when Kakien's 3 mafia families joined the conflict. And then there's also the Phantom Troop on board. They were
Phantom Troop go crazy. Phantom Troop go crazy. Crollo go crazy for real.
British treasures, while Hisoka was also hunting them in return. The Mafia War, the Troop, and Hisoka added another layer of mayhem to an already volatile situation.
Exactly.
Then came the biggest revelation about Beyond's true plan. Longi, a guard for the 5th Prince Tubepa, revealed that she's Beyond's daughter. Around 30 years ago, Beyond orchestrated sham marriages within Kakien's military and fathered many children. These kids were nin users from birth and were later sent to the Royal Military Academy. The plan was for his children to become royal guards for the Kakien princes. Longi and Beyond's other children were meant to be living weapons and sacrificial pawns for Beyond's goal. Their likely purpose was to assassinate certain princes because Longi believes Beyond's bigger plan is to wrap up the succession war quickly and to put a prince of his choosing on the throne. Longi speculated that one of the Kakien princes is actually Beyond's child, and that's the one he wants crowned. With his secret child as king, Beyond would have full control of Kakien resources to fund his true obsession, conquering the Dark Continent. As of the current point in the story, the voyage is on its 12th day. First Prince Benjamin has declared martial law as he aims to seize control of the ship, eliminate the other princes, and claim the throne before time runs out. The ship is descending into greater chaos and it hasn't even reached its destination yet. The real question is whether anyone will even make it to the Dark Continent alive, given how much chaos is already happening on the ship. The Dark Continent represents the ultimate unknown in Hunter x Hunter. It's a place of unimaginable danger, but also incredible rewards. Herbs that can cure all diseases, ores that generate massive amounts of electricity, and plants that extend life. But the price of reaching these treasures is almost always death or madness. It's not a land waiting to be conquered. It's a place that has already proven humans are not ready. And
only thing I can say is like I definitely got to do more reading on Hunter x Hunter, but also they really should start dropping more stuff. Like for real, they need to get like the rights to drop something, because real low-key like watching this made me be like, damn, I really gotta lock in with Hunter x Hunter for real, and the manga go crazy. If you like that video, like, comment, subscribe, tell me your favorite part of the video, and I'll see you in the next one.